What if there was a simple way to help people take more action against climate change? In this video, we'll explore a study from Stanford University that tested a strategy to do just that. To kick it off, let's first discuss what a societal norm even is. Societal norms are basically the unwritten rules of society that have been deemed acceptable by members of the community. For example, the common practices of saying please and thank you when requesting something at the table. Next, let's dive into what a static norm is. A static norm is basically a behavior that doesn't change too much over time. One example that illustrates this idea is speaking with your mouth full of food, as it would be considered a sign of bad table manners. Lastly, let's describe what a dynamic norm is. A dynamic norm describes how other people's behaviors or beliefs change over time, kind of like a trend. In the past, using technology at the table or eating in front of the TV were rare, but with the rise of smartphones and streaming, it's become more widespread today. Now that you're acquainted with the terms and definitions, let's break down the study. The experimenters conducted a field study to determine what societal norm was more effective in changing the diet preferences of participants. In doing so, they conducted the experiment at a Stanford cafe during peak lunch hours when the line was longest. A menu stand was set up in participant view, displaying a $5 off coupon for completing a quick survey on customer preferences. Willing participants were then handed a randomized clipboard with one of these three conditions. If a participant received the static norm clipboard, they would be first presented with something like 30% of Americans make an effort to eat less meat. If the participant received the dynamic norm clipboard, it would read something like, over the past 5 years, 30% of Americans have started to reduce their meat consumption. If they received the control condition clipboard, which was unrelated to food at all, it would say something like 30% of Americans have started reducing their time on Facebook over the last 5 years, highlighting a growing trend of limiting online activity. After reading the information page, the participants were prompted to answer, "Why do you think this is?" From there, they scanned the QR code on the page to receive their coupon, which was discreetly linked to the researchers for the records. Upon reaching the counter, the participant would place their order. After the transaction, the cashier would staple their coupon to the receipt for later calculation. Experimenters found that the static norm condition prompted the least amount of participants to order a meatless lunch, with just 17%. Participants with the dynamic norm condition were recorded to have ordered the most meatless lunch options, with 34%. Lastly, the control condition showed that 21% of participants ordered a meatless lunch. In light of the results from the study, dynamic norms are a great way to encourage others to shift toward plant-based meals. Even small changes can add up to make a big collective impact. So it's apparent that people tend to be more susceptible to change their normal behavior if it is collective and impactful. So spark the conversation, build connections, and motivate change, because by embracing dynamic norms, we can encourage widespread sustainable action for our planet. After all, we're all in this together.